And it's time now for another Soy Market Update Series conversation here on AOA. And joining us, very pleased to have him here. He is the newly elected chair of the United Soybean Board, Brent Gatton from Kentucky. Brent, good to talk with you, sir. Congratulations on being elected chair. Hope all is well.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's dive in. And just for starters, with you being elected chair of the United Soybean Board, you are going through an important board meeting right now. Just talk about your feelings as you're going to be stepping into this role, some of the things you are excited about, the work you guys are doing at the United Soybean Board, the Soy Checkoff, just your feelings as you look ahead here to the new year, Brent.
I'm extremely excited. Well, like I say, I'm a farmer from Western Kentucky, a fifth-generation farmer. Farm soybeans and corn with my wife Kim and my three sons, Will and Reed and Wyatt. And just an honor to be here with you today. And it's just an honor to be elected by your peers to serve in this capacity. You know, to have their trust and the confidence to be able to be in this role. I have just been so fortunate to serve behind several great individuals that have laid a great foundation for this organization to be successful into the coming years. You know, as we're looking at FY26, you know, we approved that budget back in July at our summer board meeting. And when you compare the FY26 budget to the FY25 budget, you know, we had about $121 million that we could invest in research, education, and promotion for FY25. Well, in FY26, you know, kind of had production issues across the United States, along with low commodity prices. We only had about $75 million that we could invest in portfolio advancement projects. So I'm extremely excited whenever we went through that process. You know, now we're looking at, as a board, whenever you're restricted down to that many dollars, you know, what could we do that would actually make the biggest impact? What would create the most value and move the most volume of our product? So when we got together, you know, we spend the majority of our funds last year. I wouldn't say the majority, but out of the 75, we probably spent about $28 million in exports. You know, and it's amazing to me what people don't realize. At any given time, we don't have just a few people working on our behalf across the world. We may have hundreds, if not thousands, with all the different outside organizations that we invest in, whether it's through new uses, new markets, new uses. You just never know what could come about with some of these projects that we invest in. The last return on investment study, you know, for every dollar someone invests in the checkoff is a $12.30 return. So you know, that's a pretty good return on investment, you know, and that's the testament to the farmers that serve on this board and the different work groups that we have. They're trying to think about where will we best spend our dollars. You know, even though there's 77 of us that represent this board from all across the United States and soybean growing areas, when we get together, we're trying to think, we take our state hat off and put our national hat on, and because what investments are going to create the best benefit and return on investment for all farmers, whether it could be, you know, more localized areas, if it's going down to the Gulf or out the PMW, you never know, but that's going to increase our bases and market prices, you know, if we can find those different avenues for our product.
You mentioned new uses, and that's a topic we've touched on a lot on this series here, and it's a favorite one of mine too, because outside of the traditional avenues, exports and things like that we talk about, you know, our farmers here in the U.S. grow such a high-quality soybean that there's so much of it, and there's so many different uses and export partners and more, but new uses, these things like soy foam or, you know, Skechers shoes or soy asphalt, all these different things that we've seen and talked about already, and more that are in development, those are crucial as well to the entire soybean industry. And I know it's a big point from the Soy Checkoff. You guys continue to look at these new uses, Brent.
100%. You know, it has been a great program that was invested in this new uses of soy foam to get rid of those PFAS chemicals that are not only hazardous to our firefighters, but also to the environment. You know, I forgot what the latest statistics was, but I think it could consume up to 13 million bushels of soybean meal, or soybeans, I'm sorry. To me, I think it's very interesting whenever you can use a bio-based product, because you can preach that sustainability, renewable products that is good for the environment, good for the American farmer, and there's a good return on investment back to us. Me personally, I like the Simlon story. I was in San Diego Zoo a few years ago, and we were in some demonstrations with the Simlon individuals, and I thought, wow, what a neat product. And this was before I was on the executive committee and was looking at it, and I looked it up, and there was a place local, well, about 2 hours from me in Louisville, Kentucky, that actually installed it. So we actually installed some at the house, and I think it's a little corny side fact there, but it was one of those things that I thought, when my time's done on this board, I'm in year 8 right now. I can always look back and something that we were a part of, and an investment and a partnership. And what separates, just for an example, Synlon, is that's a bio-based material. And I'll never forget the spiel that they told us on it, that they're the only turf manufacturer in the United States that's a bio-based product. The rest of them are not. So that was what their differentiation was between their competitors. So to me, that is so neat whenever you can find. Same as the Goodyear tire, the Skechers shoes, being able to add that oil into those products. I just think it's such a neat and a relatable story, because people don't realize that, honestly, soybeans probably touch every life every day in some shape, form, or fashion.
Final thoughts here, Brent, as we wrap up our conversation, as we look ahead to the new year. Where's the greatest opportunity, do you think, for the U.S. soybean industry and check off investments and more? I mean, if you had to nail it down to one or two things real quick, I mean, where's some of that opportunity lie ahead, Brent?
Well, I think there's still so much research being done on the untapped avenues of the new uses. You never know, sustainable aviation fuel, things like that in that nature. I think trying to find those new markets. Granted, the Chinese market, they were heavy buyers of our soybeans at one point in time, but we don't need to be relying on that. So that's what's great about having partners like the United Soybean Export Council that are working on our behalf, trying to get into those new markets to tell our story about the differentiation between our product and our South American competitors, and what that quality and what that farming practices that we do here in the States, that American farmers do produce the world's safest food supply. So I'm excited about the industrial uses, and I'm excited about trying to expand on our new markets as well.
Well, I know folks can stay up to date, unitedsoybean.org. With that, we will let you go and get back to things with the board meeting, and I'm sure we'll have another conversation again real soon. The new chair of the United Soybean Board, Brent Gatton, thanks for joining us on this Soy Market Update Series conversation here on AOA. We appreciate it, Brent.
Thank you.